Good evening, good light, and good way shores, as I always love to say. And welcome. This is Wendy with Languages of the Lights. And today's hangout is our fifth follow-up on our Bashar's 7-week, 7-day, 49-day self-love challenge. And it all begins with that one saying or verse, and maybe somebody could tell me where it was first said, because I was trying to think about it today, and I was going to Google it. Know thyself. And that is really at the core of who we are, why we're here. That is our purpose. We're here to know ourselves. And everything we do, and everything we create, and every person we come in contact with, everyone who joins us on our journey is on the same journey. We're all part of that co-creation in identifying who we are. And I wanted to welcome everyone who's here today and everyone who's watching, everyone who's been watching and participating on your own. Kudos to you. I am just so excited about the encouragement and the messages that I've been receiving. So I wanted to say hello to everyone who's here. Welcome, Debbie and Sejin. I hope I said that correctly. Shiny. Hi, Shiny Sean. Valerie. And I'm Wendy. And this week has been especially challenging in some ways for me, because I had the opportunity to co-create an experience of, I don't know, having a little, I don't know what it is, if it was a summer cold or upper respiratory, if it's become, from moving or whatever the case may be, but and to be a little bit limited and to actually had to slow down a little bit in the midst of my chaos and in the midst of everything that's going on, and to try to slow down while you're trying to speed up, and having that little element of self-love when it says, balance. You need to find that place where you still feel like you're doing something productive, but yet, hi Christina, welcome. Still trying to do something productive while realizing that you have to exercise that little bit of self-love to say you need that self-care. It's sometimes, well, all the time, we create or experience these little setbacks, irritations, whatever you want to call it, when it comes to these physical ailments, because sometimes our body is just telling us it's time down a notch, and just to kind of relax and have that element of self-love where it says it's okay sometimes to just not be at full throttle all the time. And a lot of little things started popping up. I wish I would have taken more time. I wish I would have. And woulda, shoulda, and coulda are things I think we should eliminate from our daily communication with ourselves altogether, because they all imply I'm doing something wrong, or I'm not doing something I'm supposed to, that this moment isn't the way it should be. So sometimes our body has to slow us down a little bit and show us, because we ask for balance. I've been asking for balance, and sometimes when we don't, then we keep going at full throttle, and then when we get the balance and we don't necessarily care for, again, the package it's wrapped in, we kind of get, I don't know, hard on ourselves and irritated, and what did I should be doing this, but I should take better care of myself. And part of self-love is just slowing down just a little bit and saying, okay, say yes to orange juice, say say yes to a little bit more rest, but without the resistance, without the um, the feeling like I should be, or I coulda, or I woulda, because that's all so self sabotaging, isn't it? What we do to ourselves, and so it's been kind of a little bit of a challenge for me to. And I've had some other people in my family too that are experiencing some of the same things. This kind of cold sinus sort of thing, um, and I found too that I was interested in the difference between how we each handled it. And this time, well, not just this time around, but I find myself now, instead of a lot of times when we're not feeling well or something happens to us, we spend a lot of time convincing ourselves and everybody else why it happened and why we're where we are, instead of actually spending the self-love time about looking for how to make myself feel better. Now, I understand we need to accept where we are, but what I mean is the difference between this person who went into worry mode and, oh my God, I've got everything under the sun except for just a little cold, to me now who has decided, this time I'm going to look out, I'm going to take that extra moment to see what is natural out there for me, what's healing for me. So all I did is Google like natural remedies for, upper respiratory irritation or something. And it was interesting because everything I read that it said to take, I had already asked my body, and throughout the week had already been taking. And so I was thrilled by that validation that I listened to my body, and it's, the vitamin C, the fluids, but the anti-inflammatory, like the turmeric, MSM, things like that we often turn to the drug, because I used to be one of those people who took like over-the-counter allergy medicines, and it didn't matter what the ailment was, there was a pill for it. And I was busy, I was working, it was just faster. It's faster to just shove drugs in us than it is to go and seek out what is it our body really wants, instead of we attack the symptom without really attacking the reason for it to begin with. And sometimes it's because we're not paying attention to our body. We're not paying attention to the, and then finally our immunities are down and we pick something up and we don't fight it off as fast as we can. And we don't necessarily, we're in such a hurry to do and be and go and please that we don't even take the time to sit and ask our body what it wants and what does it need to heal by itself. We're all self-healing. We know that. You cut yourself, you heal. You have surgery, you heal. We're all about healing. And yet we don't always take that little extra moment to look to see, okay, what is it that I can do for myself naturally that will work in harmony with me, not against me. Because a lot of that stuff you take, it tends to sometimes have kind of counter effects that we don't like. And so we're not really in harmony then either. So that was just a little piece of a little bit of my experience this week. And what I found, in addition to choosing the right things and listening to my body, was the validation that everything I looked up was everything I was already doing and taking, and that I was listening, I was slowing down a little bit, but I was still doing things enough in the capacity that I could and still honoring my commitments. And but there wasn't the resistance, that, oh, I should be, or I could be, or and even this person who had gotten themselves all worked up about this thing that they thought that they had that turned out not to be anything more than just, like this mild irritation. and nothing more that they didn't already know they have. And yet I was feeling guilty because I wasn't there for them, going to the doctor with them and holding their hand, because I finally had to say, I can't. I can't. I don't. Well, first of all, this is the last place I want to be, is in the doctor's office picking up stuff when my immunity is already low. I want to be in a healthy environment. So that's part of it too, is taking the time to make your own environment healthy. Use your essential oils. Take your sea salt baths. Don't just, we know it, but do you actually apply it? And this is a thing that I've heard a theme this week too from a lot of people is, we're not applying it. You listen to these videos, you watch this stuff, but we're often, then we get it, we buy it, or we don't buy it. We think about it, our intentions are good, but we don't follow through with it sometimes. And then we wonder why it's not working. It's because we're not actually applying it. Do you actually take the time to take that sea salt bath? Even if it's just for 20 minutes, 10 minutes. Sometimes we think that we don't deserve to spend that time, or if you don't have this much time, it's not worth taking this much time. But that's where we've got it all wrong, because if you don't do all the little things, even if it's you have to force yourself to get in that tub for 10 minutes, well, first of all, you're probably going to find that you're feeling pretty darn good, and you're probably not going to crawl out in 10 minutes. You're probably going to enjoy it and relax. And you'll probably also find that once you finally quiet the mind, relax, now you're inviting healing. We can't even invite healing when we're in chaos, feeling like we have got to go in all these different directions. And you know what? That person survived just fine without me. So then I have to think, well, whose ego was playing here? When we want to be there for other people, and I'm not discouraging that. I, of course, encourage people to be there for people and take people to the doctor if they need to. That's not what I'm saying here. It's about knowing when you have to say, they are in good hands. I've sent my healing. I've sent my angels. I've sent what I can do while still honoring me, while still being able to say, this time I've got to listen to my own instincts, because if I don't, now I'm the one in the resistance, and I'm probably going to go, and I'm probably going to catch something else, because it's already in my head now. Now I'm in that frequency of, oh, I'm going to go to the doctor, and I'm in, because I don't really want to be here, and now I'm going to pick up something else because I'm over there. Well, sure, because we are our self-fulfilling prophecies, Tip. Always. We create our own reality. So we need to understand that self-love is also about not creating our own resistance, about not using the words that criticize ourselves. The I shoulda, I woulda, because right away you're putting yourself down. You're saying I'm not doing something right, and so right off the bat, we're crawling into the frequency of less than our higher self, our best self. And we're immediately put into that mode of not being able to fight things off. So even if you can take the little tiny steps and do it a little at a time, and try to lose the all or nothing mentality, because following your joy is really about the little things. It's about this moment and this moment and this moment without the expectation. So first, I'm going to get a little drink of water. I'd like to welcome everyone else who has come in since I've been talking. So welcome everyone, Shaheen. And is there anyone who would like to comment on anything thus far, or share anything about their experiences at all on the subject, or on the process, the program, if there's any questions?
I'll start for you this morning. How are you this morning? Oh, afternoon for you? This week I actually felt with the 7-day, 49-day thing was actually a lot stronger. When you do them in the morning and the late afternoon, wow, way stronger. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, it's
Thank
good.
you. I agree. I found that as well.
Yeah, no, it's really good. So yeah.
Well, I'm very happy to, oh, excuse me for just a moment. Sorry, I've got up. My apologies. It's not even the right number. Yeah, it's funny because I'll wake up and sometimes it's almost becoming now where I'm becoming more and more aware even as soon as I wake up about my frequency. And it's almost like I'm starting to think about it right away now. Well, first of all, I do try to remember my dream. So that I do try to remember immediately. So I do spend a little bit more time. And I think that's part of this whole process too, because one of the one of the days of the week, we are actually on Sunday, we're actually saying I am connected and I am rested. And so I'm finding that, how do I explain, how articulate this? So when I wake up in the morning, I'm finding myself wanting to be more connected to my dream, and that it's also helping me connect to my dreams and remembering the dream. And then it's also helping me, as soon as I like come away from that and I'm either satisfied or I find myself then almost immediately thinking about, I should do my thing. I should, this exercise. I should do my exercise. It's almost as like now one of the very first things that's on my mind is my frequency. What am I setting my intention for my day? Because that's another thing that, hi, a day. That's another thing that I'm finding too, is that I'm like becoming like ultra aware and ultra emotional and ultra it's like a clear like a clarity. So now talking kind of back up a little bit to what earlier about following through with things and actually applying, what we hear and what we know, and we listen to channelers and we listen to self-help stuff, but we often, well, I'm too busy to actually apply it. So then we wonder why our life doesn't change and so forth. So I find myself now, as soon as I'm waking up, I'm actually becoming like ultra aware of, okay, it's really important now to intentionally set the frequency in my day. And even though I've always known it and you hear it and everybody says it, but when you actually start doing it and you are aware that, okay, what happens in the next few minutes, even between the time I actually sit up and kind of get my, get the sleepy and just kind of orient myself, and those few thoughts that are happening just in that maybe first couple of minutes of waking, when you're in that waking from the dream state, you're coming back into your 3D, because we are multidimensional beings having multidimensional experiences, and then we come back into our three-dimensional awareness, and then right away we start thinking. And if we're not careful, we can go really quick the wrong way. And I think we all have experienced that. As soon as you wake up, work creeps in, the kids, what do they need? I mean, the list goes on. So I have found now, by doing these exercises as early as I can, and I've put them off sometimes my morning one until in the afternoon, and I'm feeling all whacked out. I feel like I'm cheated myself. I feel like there was a puzzle piece missing. I feel like, you know how it's almost like, when you have your morning ritual and you just didn't do part of it, it's almost like it sort of lingers there all day. So it's kind of like that now, where it's this ultra awareness of being more aware of my frequency and my thoughts, because of the thoughts feed the beliefs and the beliefs feed the reality. So when you start to realize that, to actually change your frequency so that you can change what happens in your day, and then when you start to see the results of that, it's the awe of the magic of it. You really start to understand how actually powerful you are. And it's this awesome, scary, humbling kind of thing all put together. I don't know. It's kind of an interesting, thing. So I'd like to hear anybody who has, what is it that you do, maybe first thing, as an act of self-love, or don't do, maybe, that you want to kind of be more aware of that frequency. If anybody would comment on that, I'm curious to see if, that first few minutes in the morning, what is your experience?
I will go. I like to listen to morning mantras. The minute I usually sleep. This is probably not recommended with an iPad right next to me, because I usually go to sleep listening to like night meditation. So when I wake up, I do like to listen to all kinds of morning mantras. It just starts my day in a positive way.
Yes, that is good, and I get that too. I actually am one of those people who really is pretty good about keeping technology out of my. I don't bring it in my room at all. But I still listen to it up to the time I go to sleep, which again may not be the best thing to do. They do say to give yourself about 30 minutes. So usually what I'm doing, though, at that time of night is I'm actually doing a spiritual something. It's either listening to a meditation video, a channeler, and then as soon as I'm finished, I have my own 5 or 10 minute thing. And this is after I've even done this exercise. This is long after that. And so, and then at that very last few minutes before I go to sleep, I actually do my own little meditation, thanks, prayers, intentions for the nighttime, that kind of thing, for the astral, and my gratitude to my spirit guides, that kind of thing. Sending gratitude to your higher self and yourself, loving the life that you have, even when it stinks sometimes, is kind of hard to do. And but to go to bed at night and to wake up every morning finding even little something to be grateful for changes the frequency of everything. And I think that in of itself is huge. But anyway, if anybody who else would like to share any kind of daily acts of self-love, or how you set your intention for the morning. Okay, guys. That's all. It's okay. Excuse me. I was trying to get my thoughts in order a little bit more, as far as something that I had wanted to touch on, and I kind of lost my train. I completely lost my train of thought. That's just, I've been so scattered this week with this whole not feeling well too, that I find it sometimes difficult to I don't know, accept when we are less than our highest selves, and because then too we tend to spiral sometimes. And what I mean by that is when you're already less than feeling less than your best, what I find odd about that is how it seems to have well, and maybe not everybody, but how it seems to affect many of us in every other area of our life, as far as finding myself being more vulnerable to self-sabotaging thoughts. So I found this interesting connection between when we're not feeling well, and then we react to things differently because we're not feeling well. And that tends to spiral us into feelings that are self-sabotaging, because then you allow that frequency to enter in where you're then like picking yourself apart about other things that normally you would be able to see from a more clearer point of view, where instead of seeing it from a more logical place of experience, you're looking at it more from a self I keep using sabotage, but it's where we react to things stronger or in a more negative way, because we're not feeding ourselves in other ways. So you're already not feeling well, and then somebody says something to you, or doesn't say something to you, or reacts a certain way, or doesn't react a certain way, and we take it personally. And then we start to say, what's wrong with me? I must be doing something wrong. When we're not physically well, we become mentally unclear. And then when we become mentally unclear, we're perpetuating the physical illness, because now we've taken ourselves out of the frequency of healing now. So I'm observing this not only in myself, but now in other people, and in the connection between the integrity, the body, mind, and spirit, the harmony of these working together, that how the intricate connections between how we feel and our physical beingness, and how intricately connected that is to our mental well-being. Everything feeds off of the next arrow, because I would even find myself then, and others, then then you don't feel right about yourself. So then your appetite's not really right. So then you're not really eating right. So now you're not getting the fuel you need. And now you're not getting the fuel you'll need, so now you're even more tired, and you're even more sick. And now you still got to run, you still got to work, you still got to have a family, you got to feed your kids, you got to, whatever your responsibilities are, you still have to do them. So now you throw that into the mix. So now you've got all of that, and now your kid does something, and instead of being calm, you freak out. Or your partner says something to you, and instead of you being understanding and logical, you take it personally as if it's a personal, pick, and then right away it's I don't do anything right, and I can't, or you take it personally as if you've not, because now you're upset because you're not doing all the things you think you're supposed to be doing. So now somebody says something to you, and you're like, now you're even angrier than you would have been because you're sick, you're tired, you're spent, you're not feeding yourself, you're not fueling yourself, you're not giving yourself self-love, you're not taking the walk, you're not going in nature, you're not taking the bath. Perfect example. I had a lot going on, lots of stuff, and I've really been trying to go the natural route the last couple of years as far as trying to find, home remedy kind of things. And 99% of the time they actually work as well, if not better, than anything I've ever taken. But yet I found myself actually forgetting to do the very things that even I was like, I'd be like, oh yeah, I forgot to take all my vitamins today, or oh, I have a neti pot, swear by the thing, love it, but it was like 4 days before I even remembered to even use it. I'm like, oh yeah, I got my neti pot, and I'm just like, why didn't I think of it days ago? Why did I? But it's because I wasn't. I'm worried about this. I'm not worried, but trying to do that and want to and but yet still rest and still try to be kind to myself, and my mind's going a million directions, and then other not responsibilities, but I mean other things would pop up that weren't even planned that turned out to be the best experiences of my life. So that was the other biggest message about that whole week too, was also honoring that in the midst of all of this and not feeling great and feeling, I don't know, like I was letting other people down and my family and my responsibilities here, and in all that time I'm if something were to, like a hangout came up that my heart and soul said, oh, I really want to be there, and but I'm so tired, or I really need to go do that thing, or I need to clean that, I need to pack, you know what, it didn't matter. It was like I let myself just have a sigh of a breath of just go to the hangout. If that is what your joy is, go do the hangout, because one, you need to be there. You are called to it for whatever reason, because there's something there for you. Don't go with resistance that, I should be doing something, could be doing something else. I let myself be. I let myself go and enjoy it and be there and experience what I needed to experience and let it be okay. And it turned out to be, I've met new people, and it turned out to be some of the best experiences of my life. And then I also had unexpected company come, and so that, then you've got that. So now what happens? All your plans change, and all of a sudden you get that call, and somebody's coming into town, and you really want to be there for them, but you're not feeling good. You already have all this stuff going on. You really want to do all these other hangouts, and it was like, okay, all right, well, you guys, you want to come by, and that's fine, but I really need to do this, and I want to do that, and honoring all of it and being okay with, I can spend this much time with this and this much time with that and this much time with that. We ask our guides for balance. We ask our guides to help us find whatever we're looking for. And then when they give us all these situations and they go, here you go. Here's a chance to figure out balance. And then we freak out, because we're like, oh my God, and all these things, and what am I going to do? And then I feel terrible, and I can't be this, and I can't be there, and I can't be that. It's no wonder we're so sick and tired all the time. But that's part of self-love, is also understanding that all of that stuff that feels like when it's pouring, when it rains, it pours. Well, we've been asking for something, and we're given the experience, and it's how we respond. It's how we respond to those experiences that we're given by our higher selves that set the pace. It sets the frequency. It is only your response that you can change. It is only, you've asked for this thing, and even if it didn't come in the way you wanted it, it's how you respond to it. And that's when you know, just like Bashar says, that's when you know you've changed. Not that the circumstances outside of you are different or have changed. It's that how you respond to them is now different. How you feel about it. What meaning you put to it. What you decide how you want to feel about that thing. You decide what it means to you. So you get to decide, oh my God, I can't do anything right, and look at my life. Everything's happening at once. I can't deal with all this. I'm no good. I can't deal with, or you can say, okay, take a step back, take a deep breath. I want to do this. The very first thing that needs to happen is, which one makes you feel better? Out of all the things, that's where we need to start. Out of all those things that are going on, what's the thing that we really want to do the most? And work your way out from there. And we find ourselves, at the end of the day, if the floor didn't get washed or whatever, the dishes are still in the sink, but you went to that hangout and you met somebody new and you changed your life, the dishes are still there. And I guarantee you're going to be singing doing them that time instead, aren't you? Because now you're so damn excited about what happened in your life because you followed that little bit of joy and you let yourself have some balance. You're going to be singing through those dishes, and before you know it, the house is clean because you're so happy because you chose you. You chose to do that little thing for you that changed everything. And I will say that that one of my biggest lessons I learned with my own children growing up was not doing those things first. It was almost like I felt like my self-worth was so wrapped up in perfect clean house, everything just right, I was so wrapped up in that we'll go in a little while once I'm done with this, or once I'm done with that, or and then by the time, oh, well, it's dinner time. I'm sorry, we didn't get that. Biggest lesson. Not to say that I didn't do a billion things with my kids. That's not what I mean, but it's one of those days where you're just like, you just got to throw the dish towel on the counter and walk away and go to the park. Go sit with your kid. Go talk to them. Go sit with your neighbor. Go, do that thing that the experience is going to be life-changing rather than the I should. Because at the end of the day, just like Bashar says, whatever didn't get done at the end of the day didn't need to. And how many times have we put something off where a week later it's still not done, but something's changed in which it either didn't need to get done, or you're kind of glad you didn't do it the way you were going to do it because now you thought of a better way to do it. because you allowed yourself the permission to let it go, to say, just this once I come first. And even my own family member had to remind me, yes, sometimes you need to say, I need to come first today. And why do we have to wait for somebody else to validate for us to let us know that that's okay? Because we do. We all wait for somebody else, whether our friends, our family, whatever, to validate for us that it's okay to say, you need to come first today, or in this now. And as it turned out, my instincts were right on the money. And that's another thing. Your instinct is you channeling your higher self. If we could just remember that in every aspect of our day, in every decision that we make, if you could just remember, your instinct is you channeling your higher self. It's you telling you this is what's right for you. This is who you are. Yet when we ignore that, we become sick, we become resistant, we become irritated, resentful. We take things personally. We treat people in a way that we wouldn't necessarily treat them, because we're feeling ill at ease in ourselves. The only time we're ever really angry is because we see something that we identify with that we don't like and don't really want to look at, because anger is really nothing more than a mirror. You're telling that person, shame on you for pointing something out in me I don't want to see. And yet we should be, of course, thanking them, because that is the gift. That's the gift of the mirror to each other. Is, we point out to each other what it is we need to see in each other. And I don't mean in the way that, I need to tell you what's wrong with you. That's not what I mean. But I think you understand is that we all, in our interactions every day, we are mirroring to each other what it is we need. And so we say to our spirit guides, we say to our higher selves, show me what I need to do to grow and be today. What do I need to do to become the highest version? How do I know myself? How can I better know who I am? And we're given a circumstance, we're given a person in our lives, we're given a hangout, we're given a meeting someplace, an interaction of any kind, anywhere, whether it's with an animal. I've had the most emotional experiences with things that are not even people. So, I mean, I can't even, if I could describe to you what my day is like, I'm not even sure I could. It would be like trying to write a fairy tale every day. I couldn't even describe to you the things that I see and the things that I hear and the messages that I get. And I wish I could record it all. I wish I could record in a book or in a video or on tape everything I experience in a day. I couldn't begin to. Yet it's those times of when I'm just following my joy, even if it's just to sit down and take a breath, go sit in the forest, sit on the front, pet my dog, whatever, get a drink of water, whatever it is. When you're present, you allow that information in. I mean, you can't hear it otherwise. And I've had the most profound experiences. So, but the point is that a lot of this, everything is our higher self giving us information. Our spirit guides, our galactic families, God. So you're asking and you're getting. We're asking and we're getting. and then we get it, but it's in the reaction to what you're getting in that you discover who you are. Don't we all say that, like, the biggest demonstration of a person's character is how they react to a stressful situation? So let's put ourselves all in the same situation. You get a flat tire on the end of the road, and you can handle it a lot of different ways, but we all know the yelling and the screaming and the irritation and we already know what frequency that puts you in. It's not going to get the tire changed any faster. It's going to create nothing but resistance. It's going to make the whole situation horrible. Now, I've been in that situation, and I've also seen it handled the complete opposite way. It turned out to be a horrible fiasco. AAA didn't come. It turned out all the money we had been paying for the trailer, oh, well, we don't really cover that. We're like, what? We've been paying this for years. What do you mean? Well, it doesn't cover that kind of a trailer. So we're going to have to charge it. We're like, you know what? Forget it. In 15 minutes, we had the goofy thing changed, and we laughed about it all the way. You know, that could have been a very irritating experience. Now, what we really wanted to do was call AAA, have them come and change the tire, and we were going to go sit in a restaurant and eat. Well, that's not the way it happened. So that situation could have been, and anybody who's ever been in any even kind of situation like that knows exactly what I'm talking about. So, hello everyone who's come in. I've been talking and talking. Is there anybody who wants to say anything? Welcome all.
Well, I think that you're absolutely on point with, don't set your mind on a certain outcome to happen a certain way. Because if you just go with the flow, it's bound to happen the right way. That's how I always kind of see it. So try to let go of the control of the whole thing and not have such a plan that you can't move. I
like that. Control. Aren't we good at that? We're really really good at wanting to control a situation and control our circumstances when really all we control is our response.
I think you and I too worked really hard to get into positions that where we ended up being in control of ourselves at work, at home. So we didn't have to worry or leave that up to anybody else after having the childhood kind of messed up by others. So It kind of teaches you that you have control of how your life is going to turn out.
Well, I think that that's what people fear too, is I think that when people say let go or surrender, or what, I think there's such a misunderstanding, I think, about what that actually means, because when you can let go, when you finally understand it's not about controlling the situation, it's about controlling your response to the situation, it's such a sigh of relief to finally realize, by letting go, by surrendering, you are in control. That's the point. It's only in surrendering that you can be in control. It is only the calm, the clear-mindedness, the being in the present that allows you to control your situation. You control that now. Every now you control by letting go of the need to control it. Because then you're allowing it to come. You're allowing the experience. You don't feel a need to control it. All you need to do is decide how you want to react to it. And all reactions are equal and valid, but you still get to choose. And so by allowing yourself to let go and surrender, that is being in control, because now you are in complete control of everything. And it's such a relief then, because then I don't need to control anything that's happening. out there. Well, there is no out there because you create everything. And everything's connected to everything. So there really is no out there anyway. That's just an illusion we have created for ourselves to navigate a three-dimensional reality, because if it didn't feel real, you wouldn't feel like you could have this experience. So in order to feel in control and be able to let go, that is when we have to say, okay, all I can do to control what happens out there, because out there is nothing more than a reflection of what's in here. So the only way I can control the reflection of what's out there back to me and what I'm seeing is by changing my frequency. Because now I understand that since we're energy beings, and now I understand if I change my frequency, I change the reality I'm residing in. Because we also have to remember there's billions of this earth happening right now. So there's billions of earths right now where you and me and we're all having this conversation. But each one is just a little different. So when you can remember that you change your reality around you by changing your frequency, then you understand you change your frequency by changing that control factor. You change your frequency by changing what your frequency is in that moment. Now you're actually vibrating in a reality in which that thing you really want is. Now, it may not exist in this one or this one or this one, but now if you can change your vibration to this one, the one that it does exist in, and stay in that vibration, that's the timeline you'll reside in. So as difficult as that is for some of us to comprehend from a physics standpoint, it is. I love that. 33. I love it. The 33rd parallel, which is a whole nother subject.
To me so much lately. I watch the clock and it's numbers like that.
And repeating numbers, that's another thing. You know, repeating numbers is a whole that's a whole nother thing of our higher consciousness, our higher dimensions talking, actually talking to us. And so when we see these repeating numbers all the time, it's our higher, it's the dimensions, it's information coming to us in light codes. I mean, numbers are a form of light. They're a form of information. And so when we see these repeating numbers all the time, and the 1111, my neighbor, they've got 3333, on their license plates. And so I see that all the time. I see 1111 all the time. I mean, all of that is all information being fed to us all the time. And if you're not present, you miss it. If we're not letting ourselves be in the flow, of our reality, then we miss those things. We miss those numbers on the clock. Because when we see those numbers on the clock, then we realize, oh, I'm in harmony with my highest core vibration in this now. Or that's a message for me. I'm going to go look up online what 333 means. I'll do that all the time because sometimes I don't have them all memorized, myself. So I'll do the same thing. I'll just go online and I'll look up, 444. Let me go look up and see what that means, or 555, because that is my higher self telling me something too, or my spirit guides are telling me something. They'll say, go look that up because we have a message for you. Or that animal totem, you start to see elephants all the time. You start to see bears, or you start to see, whatever. Go look it up.
Wasn't it you that seen the eagle and all that kind of stuff? There you go. All those mountainous type creatures.
And I have eagles. I always was told like I have an eagle spirit as one of my higher, and then here at our place in Tennessee, I've got eagles nesting right outside my door. I'm just like, I'm in fascination. I can sit there for hours and just look at this eagle, and they're right there. So it's that kind of stuff that we just discount. We don't see it as messages, and
we just don't see it sometimes.
And we don't, because we're trying to control, because we're trying.
And we're so busy with our life,
with our
trying to do what we need to do, driving here, driving there, taking the kids, taking care of that. You know what I mean? Whatever it is that your life entails, we forget to just stop and look around. I have to say, a few minutes before I joined, I was outside watering, and there was like a yellow jacket on one of my succulents, and I watched him clean himself completely, just sit there and clean himself off like he was just like really busy doing his thing, and then he looks over at me and takes off. It's like,
isn't
I'm
that
clean.
the best? I have more fun. I did the same thing the other day, Val.
Just watching nature and how
I watch these birds just
they take the time for themselves too. Yeah. And that kind of shows us that we need to, right? And they all get along wonderfully out there.
And it was so great to watch them. They would sit in line, and they would each wait, and they would take a bath, and then the next one would take a bath, and I'm just like, this is what being present is all about. And I got to tell you guys, Shaheen is here, and that's a funny story because I don't even know how I came across his video, but I saw his video, and he had these beautiful, here, I'm going to put it on screen. So he has these beautiful sheep in his video, and the video's not very long. It's like, I don't know, maybe a minute or something. And I see his sheep, and I'm just like, well, that is the cutest thing I've ever seen. So I click on his YouTube video, and it's just he's doing a video outside, and you guys know how I love about doing videos outside. So I'm checking out the beauty of Australia as he's, and then I see his beautiful sheep that he just does this like 30-second clip of his sheep eating, and Mimi, I just love Mimi. So I'm watching Mimi eat, and I'm just like, I'm in love. I'm just absolutely in love watching the sheep eating, and I'm like, what a guy. What a sweet person to put out a video of their sheep eating. And I'm just like enamored by this guy who puts this video out of his sheep eating. And then, like 2 days later, I see his name in our chat boxes. I'm like, we already know him? I was like, I had never met him. I had never seen his name in our chat boxes, nothing. But talk about synchronicity. Talk about just going with your joy and going, wow, I'm going to check that out. And now here he is in my Hangout. I'm just like, you can't make this stuff up.
He meant to be.
I know. And it's like it's happened this way for like so many people, and it's funny because even a day, we don't live very far away from each other. We physically are only about an hour away from each other. But what's hilarious, we didn't actually meet in person until we went to Arkansas.
I know. Isn't that fun?
So, and I wasn't even supposed to go on. I mean, I wasn't even thinking I was going to be able to go on that trip until like 2 days before the beginning of the trip. So I wasn't even really planning on going, So I wanted to go, I intended to go, and as it turns out, that's exactly why I went, because I had put the intention out. And then like 2 days before that, I'm just like, I really want to go to that retreat. And it was just like the next day, everything unfolded. And before I knew it, 2 days later, I'm on the road, to Arkansas. So,
I think that
but
was for most of us because I totally didn't plan on it either.
you didn't?
No.
Oh my gosh.
I decided towards the end too, and I think same for Michelle, same for Lana, for most of us. It just
wow.
happened.
See? And if you guys, I want to thank everyone for being with me who is from around the globe, because I know what it's like to try to hang out with everybody in all these time zones, because we're representing so many countries here today, and I have to tell you guys how it warms my heart. Christopher, Ireland, Debbie, the Netherlands, Shaheen is in Australia, Shiny's in Ireland, Valerie is in Montana, United States, Whispering Teams is in New Zealand, I'm in Illinois. And so the fact that we can be together in this way. I'm sorry, a day's near me in Chicago.
That's what I thought. I wasn't sure though.
And
yeah, I'm in the city.
I'm outside the city, but anyway, we're like an hour from each other. And now Sabrina, she's from New Jersey. So
it's actually 4:44 right now, Miss.
Oh my God, it is. And yeah, if it's 4:44 on Valerie's time, that's pretty angelic. So how's that for popping in?
Yeah, Sabrina.
You know what I mean? Yeah, how's that for at the angel time? So
yeah.
Actually, my time is like 8:44.
Speaking of angels,
8:44.
even some angels can have a little bit of health issues here and there. And since she popped in, everybody that knows Reiki and even those who don't, could we send a little healing energy Sabrina's way, please? She's having a little bit of a problem with her health, and she could really use all our great energy.
Me too. Send me Reiki too, guys. Come on. I need to breathe. This is 7.
Okay,
this
so
is
let's
8 days.
send energy, a healing energy, to everyone who needs it right now.
And you know what? I've been doing the same thing to myself too, because I know that we're all healers, and I've been healing myself. And I think part of that too is that we do sometimes lose the belief in ourselves that we can heal ourselves. But anyway, I just wanted to encourage everybody though, just if you can meet each other. I have met more long-lasting, lifetime connections and friendships in my galactic families here with you than I have in my own 3D reality, and so I encourage everybody all over the globe, again, please meet up, get together, put a meetup out there for Reiki, just meditation, anything you want to call it to break the ice where you live.
Really, Wendy, I think what Wendy is trying to say is that look at all the countries here,
yes,
and look at how peaceful we all are, and how we can find the good in
and we're all
one
the
another.
Same. We're all looking for the same thing. It doesn't matter where you live, how much you make,
who you pray to.
Right. This is so above all of that. It's above religion. It's about
it's above governments. It's about us, humanity.
And just understanding that what affects one affects us all. And if everything you do every single day to raise your own vibration in acts of self-love, it changes the vibration of the self-love of everyone. It helps everyone across the entire globe, the entire cosmos. Everyone's watching Earth. Everyone's watching to see how we do it. We are the masters, you guys. We are the master class. Just like Bashar said, you are all here not by accident. This job of knowing yourself and finding yourself, and this is what you came to do. And these gatherings are what we do. This is our work. This is our work to find who we are and to give everyone else permission out there to discover who you are, love who you are, and express who you are. That's why you came. This, to know yourself,
And to
is,
know it's okay to express yourself.
yes. And this is the hardest job that we have to do here. And everyone who, from all these higher densities and dimensions, are watching us to see how you guys can come from this thick, dark place where you think you're separate from everything, where you think you're so different that no one could love you, that you think you are unloved or unlovable. You have no idea how loved you truly are. If you only knew the support you had, the guidance, the cheering sections behind you, not only out there, but right around you, your own spirit
And right
guides.
around Earth. As we all live miles and miles from one another, but yet we're able to meet here and in other hangouts and share what we have in common. And we aren't here to discuss all the things that we don't have in common, because that separates us. We want to bring one another together in harmony. And she loves that
harmony.
word.
Everyone knows I love that word.
Yeah.
Harmony is, I discovered a long time ago through a channeling, actually with Roxanne Swainhart. Love her dearly. Anybody who's, she's great. Hasn't heard of her, go check her out, Odyssey of Ascension. But she validated for me a long time ago in a channeling about harmony and what harmony is to me and my higher self. And so that's really, I think, our main goal here with self-love, is finding our own inner harmony and sending that harmony out to ripple through infinity, through eternity, simply by loving who you are and expressing your joy without expectation, without judgment, and just being free to feel that you can be who you came here to be, that you are here, you're unique for a reason. And that is one of the exercises in here. I am unique. And I think out of all of them, that one statement for that one day sticks out to me more than I think anything, because in our uniqueness is where not only are we, that is who we're supposed to be, but it's our uniqueness that makes us feel separate. It's our uniqueness that makes us feel as if we need to compare ourselves to another, when it's the opposite of that. It's our uniqueness that we need to embrace for a reason. We are not supposed to be the same teachers. We're not supposed to reach the same people. We're not supposed to, yes, we resonate with different frequencies and different people, but we are not supposed to be another person for a reason. And that I am unique, if I took anything away from this week, it's that stuck out the biggest.
What can you say is unique about yourself, I think, would be a good question right now. Oh,
Me?
Sabrina, you're leaving? Okay. Well, thank you, Sabrina, for showing up. I hope you get feeling better.
Sending you love and healing. But that, I think, is the key, is that, to understanding that we are all unique for a very precious, precious reason. And anytime our uniqueness takes us in a direction where we feel less than another, more than another, inferior, that's where we have to step back and look at our uniqueness and realize and ask, okay, I'm unique. I'm unique for a reason. Show me. Show me what it is that I'm by joy, by synchronicity. Show me my angels, my spirit guides, God. Show me what it is and help me be clear in seeing the path before me by way of joy, by my uniqueness. Why am I? What is this unique beauty to bring to this world? And that is the question I want to leave with all of you, is ask yourself, what is unique about you? And what is it that you're here, what is that uniqueness to bring to this world? You're not me, I'm not any of you, but yet we're all connected to the same one thing, but it's God experiencing itself in all of you. All of you are a unique signature vibration of the one light. And so we are unique expressions of the very one thing, the one light, the one love. And what you do, what we do, affects everything.
Namaste.
So I think, with that said, I think we can close for this evening. I would welcome any comments before we do go.
Could we have a blessing, Wendy?
Any blessings at all. And yeah, if anybody would like to say anything, and then I will be happy to close with one as well. I'm just going to take a drink of water.
Well, I hope you will feeling better soon. Send you all my love. And thank you so much for the Ranger fit. I loved it.
Thank you, Debbie. You're just, you make my day. You all do. All your comments that you leave for me, and Christina, and I mean, you guys have no idea. There have been so many times this week that, you know, and Johnny, if you're out there, you know, love you. Just, I love all of you. You got so many people out there that have sent me goodwill and good wishes, and you mean the world to me. The time that you take and to show me that what I do makes a difference for you, and that is, I think, more validating than anything, to know that just by me being me, I'm helping somebody, and just by you being you, you have no idea either what you do for me and what you give me and what you reflect back to me, by way of knowing that you are finding your light, that it's not about me doing something for you, it's about me knowing that you are growing, that you are finding who you are and your own strengths. That, to me, is the most divine reflection anybody could ask for. And I have to thank you for that.
Thank you for
And
the
we
hangout.
thank
It's
you.
very refreshing, the topic.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sean. Could you repeat that?
Thanks for making the hangout. The topic is a very refreshing topic to talk about and to listen to.
Well, good, thanks. And I'm glad you're here, Sean. It's good to feel you. Good to be in your energy. I'm glad you're here.
I also want to say,
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. There was it. Go ahead, Shaheen.
okay, I just want to say thank you so much, because I feel more closer to everything. Like yesterday, I went to my backyard. I got like 2 almond tree. It's already blossomed, and I saw the bees go flying over it and everything. I felt so connected to more to nature, more to everything, and it just it just I feel like everything's just getting pure love and energy, and it's just amazing feeling, as you know. Thank you.
Yes, I do know, and thank you so much for sharing that, because even just you sharing that feeling in those words, it ignites that in other people. People get excited about that. And like Val expressing her joy in watching, her little bee, taking a bath, and it just sharing that experience with another person makes them more aware. And when you can make somebody more aware of their own creation, because that's your creation. You created that little bee to watch for your own, it was a co-creation.
And I took a picture of China the other day because she stops to smell the flowers as we're walking on the walk. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Don't think that your animals are paying attention to
Ranger
everything
does
around them,
too.
but they so do. They pay attention
Ranger, he
way more
does.
than what we think they do. I
He
watch
studies
her when
the
I go to shut the
flowers.
TV off or whatever. She looks up at the TV, looks at me, then okay.
I do, and I love that too, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I love when I am out there walking him. I love watching him and how he's experiencing this creation, and how even Ranger will stop and smell the flowers, or how he will actually just sit and look at like an insect. Um, it is. I think it really does affect our complete awareness. And being in nature, we all know that does that. That is our, like,
I think
turning us on.
those who are really super connected with the earth, with Gaia, tend to also have an animal, if you know what I mean. Like
That's
they
true.
want to have an animal in their life as a companion,
That
as
is true. And even
part
those
of
who
their
don't,
family.
and if they can't have one in their home, a lot of people will, they'll put bird feeders out, or, and even putting bird feeders out and feeding the animal, that kind of thing is our way of giving, like, appreciation, gratitude, like leaving, like they'll say, to leave a little bit of food for the elementals in appreciation. So every time we do something like that, we're showing appreciation for our creation, and then our creation gives us more to appreciate in return. And that is how that works.
I love it also when I'm walking Angel, how she's jumping around and being happy, him running
I know, don't
around.
you? I love watching them, the way they leap, and he leaps through the woods, and it is.
Yeah,
It's like watching joy in motion.
Right.
yeah.
I think that they're partly here to teach us that we need to play more.
Yes, they
Oh,
are.
yes,
You are
yes.
right.
Dogs are so sensitive to us, and we are to them.
And how much do we all love, no matter what it is, whether it's a bird, or if you have a cat and you like to play with it, or the dog, or the fish, plants. It's They say you should have a minimum of like 15 plants in your house if you can, if you're there to take care of them and everything, because they're good for your soul. They feed you oxygen. You can interact with them. And now that we know plants actually create music, even though we can't really hear it with our ears, we know that they're always creating music, even if we can't hear it. So having plants in your home or around your home is helpful. If you can't be in a place where you have an outdoors, and not everybody has the opportunity to have trees around them and things like that. So it's encouraged to have, plants in your house if you can. And if you can afford it, how many people, I know I've experienced it, like with Val having, in my own garden. One of the benefits to me of gardening is to be able to, and I even asked my flowers, is it okay if I cut you and bring you in the house? But I go out and I will collect a beautiful bouquet of flowers and bring them in the house. And then I even give them gratitude for bringing me beauty from the outside in. And then I get even more beauty, for as long as they last inside the house. And
My joy is collecting the seeds. So because I know then
yes,
I
then
can
you
grow
can
more, I
have
can
more.
share them with others. It's sharing that vibration. Because as you know,
Yes,
there's actual proof that all the flowers emit their own
yes,
vibration that
they do.
attracts the right kind of insect.
Well, And I'm glad that you mentioned that too, because one of the things about self-love and self-healing is the understanding that you can actually mentally and telepathically connect with plants. So, say for example, I got the telepathic message the other day when I had just a little something on my hand, and they said to me, "Okay, we'd like you to actually become the vibration of the plant, like for example the aloe vera plant. You know how you could take the gel. I think everyone knows about aloe vera gel, and you can actually mentally become the vibration of the plant and ask the plant to come and visit that area that needs healing, and you can actually feel the physical properties of that plant." And so these are the kind of messages that I'll get, like they'll say, "Okay, pretty soon, you're going to begin to understand that if you combine this plant with this plant with this plant, that you're going to have a new kind of medicine that you didn't know existed before." Or they'll say,
the Chinese already have, that ability to
Chinese medicine has been,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean they've been doing that forever. But the thing is, we don't even know what we don't know yet.
That's
and what
true.
we don't know is, what we haven't done yet is alchemized several of these plants. We haven't discovered yet
Wendy,
the
that's
combinations.
What did. You know that. That's what they called them. The alchemists, were the witches. And
that's right.
we were combining different types of things. Sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't.
Well, that's a good point, too, because you put a little dash of this and a little dash of that. And
exactly.
Whoops, that didn't work.
But yeah, they called it witchery because, of course, sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't.
Sometimes it didn't. Yeah. And sometimes things might get created and, oh,
I'm sure there were quite a few different things going on back then, but yeah, they just labeled it a witch, burnt them all, thinking that they were putting spells on people, not creating medicine, which is really what they were doing, is creating natural medicine from herbs.
And doesn't that just come back to full circle to solidify and verify what we're being taught now by our galactic families and this information that's being unleashed, like from the pyramids and so forth, that we actually are discovering all of that, again, and remembering that intention and words together has power, just like magic. We all know a magic magic is nothing more than intention, saying words, and then having a physical manifestation.
I think you're talking about a witch, Wendy.
There you go. But that's what they tell us every day, that we human beings are capable of, yet we don't even know we have that power yet. But yet, what we aren't realizing is that's what our reality is all around us. Every single day, you're saying, "Oh, I want a new car." Now, you may go buy the new car, but either way, you manifested it. So that's the point. I intend to buy a new car. Poof, you bought a new car. It's not really magic, but it's intention, words, and then you follow in action the things that you do in order to manifest that thing.
And in doing that, losing control of how it happens.
Exactly. And perfect, Val, because there you go. Now we say the faith of a mustard seed. If you have the faith of a mustard seed to let go and say, "All right, I want a new job. I want it within walking distance of my house. I want the best boss ever. I want to dress how I want, and I'm going to make the most money I can make." Boom. Planted the seed. Now what we do is, as humans, we go stand over the seed, instead of allowing and knowing. Okay, you, Miss Gardner, know, Val, that if you plant the seed, you watered it, you took care of it, you fertilized it, you know you don't need to stand over it. You have the faith of knowing you've done everything you can, that plant is going to flourish You're going to love it. You're going to send it energy, but you're not going to send it things that are going to prevent it from growing. You're just going to say, I already know that's going to grow. Now what we do is, I don't have the new car. I don't know. I can't do this, and I can't find a new job, and I'm never going to. Well,
change the language.
There you go. So we are what we say I am. So by saying I am going to manifest that new car, you're going to follow the things in your life that are going to lead you to that new car or that new house or the new job or that relationship. You don't want anything to manifest unless you're in the highest possible vibration, because then you're not manifesting what's truly the highest for your good. So we push and we push and we want to make things happen and make things happen. And then when we make it happen, we realize it wasn't our best good for our highest good anyway. Now we want to discard it. And now we're upset that we have to discard it because we've put so much time and energy in it. But we realized it was because it didn't fit to begin with. We tried to push it and push it instead of just letting it happen. So yes, let the seed grow. But if we start saying and start putting the vibration of, I don't have it yet, I don't have it yet, why don't I have it yet? Instead of making the action, even if you're at a job that you hate, instead of saying every day how much you hate your job, start looking for a new job. Start looking for the new house. Start looking for the new car. You start the vibration by thinking about it. You get yourself excited about it. You get in the vibration of it. Then you start to feel it. You start to feel what it smells like, what it feels like, what it tastes like, what it feels like to live in that place, to drive that car, to be in that new job, to be in a place where you're appreciated and loved, or where you can come home for lunch every day. If you don't ask the universe, you're not going to get it. That's a fact. So if you don't ask, be specific. Because if you're not specific, you're not going to get it. And even if you get it and find out you don't want it, that's okay too, because we find out what we don't want by getting what we don't want. And that's okay, because it still points us in the right direction. So even that's not a negative, unless we decide we want to call it a negative. I'm a stupid idiot. I took this job and it's horrible.
I was going to say, don't be desperate about it.
Right.
Just like let go and let God kind of thing.
And that's the whole saying, let go and let God. Well, that's what that means. It doesn't mean I'm, willy-nilly and it's God's will. No, it means I'm going to put out an intention for something, but I'm going to trust my higher guides, myself, my spirit guides, God, that it's going to happen for me as long as I don't put things in my path to prevent it, and as long as it's relevant to my path. How many times do we try to force something that in the end, it wasn't even, it didn't fit anyway, and yet we wanted it so bad that we made it happen, and then it just didn't fit. So if we can just allow, I love it. And now we hit 11:11 New Zealand time. I love this stuff. So yeah, that I think was a great segue to saying goodnight. So those are the times when I have to say, oh, I love so much doing this. This is, I love being here with all of you, and this is my highest joy. And then there's times when I have to say, okay, now I need to go rest my throat. Excuse me. So I can do more light language videos and do more hangouts. So I don't know how to express my gratitude to all of you for stepping up to the plate to say, I'm ready. I'm ready to find out who I am, and I'm not afraid. Because why would you be afraid of yourself? Why would you be afraid of your own creation? Why would you be afraid to find out more of who you are? But we are. And that's what this is all about not being afraid to look in the mirror and say, I love you. I am unique. I am harmony. I am a creature of creation. I am a child of creation. To not be afraid to say the very same thing that you would say to your best friend, your mom, your sister, your brother, your kid, whatever. Why is it so much easier for us to tell somebody else how much we love them, or how to try to convince them how wonderful they are, what a beautiful child of creation they are, what a talented individual they are when they are feeling down on themselves? Yet sometimes we can't even give ourselves that. That's what this breaking this barrier is all about breaking this barrier down of this belief that somehow knowing yourself is wrong or scary or bad, or like some people say, well, why do you think too much, or why do you have to analyze everything? Because I want to know who I am. I want to get rid of the stuff that doesn't serve me anymore. I want to lose these fearful beliefs. I want to explore and become everything I can be. But yet, if I've got these things, these ideas of self-doubt or lack of self-esteem, or that I'm putting my self-worth into something that, jobs come and go. I've put my self-worth into so many jobs, and that was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. They're gone. They're not thinking about me anymore. And yet I didn't put myself first. And then I wasn't healthy. And then I wasn't feeling good. All of those things, and then it would manifest into all this ugly stuff, and because I wasn't being true to myself. And, we have to put ourselves first, even in the context of our jobs, our families, our lives. We have to be able to do that, because at the end of the day, you're all you have. You are all, the bosses will come and go. The kids are going to grow up and leave. The families come and go. You're all you have. And so you have to find who you are and to be true to who you are, and to find the gifts. As soon as you start expressing your gifts, as soon as you start healing somebody else by expressing who you are, because no matter what you do, you heal. It doesn't matter. Whatever your joy is and you're doing it, you're healing yourself and you're healing someone else in the process. And that changes everything. It changes the frequency of everything. It changes the frequency of the planet. It changes the frequency of the timeline you're in. It changes everything. And when you put that out, you get it back, because you're healing yourself. You're talking to a mirror. So these exercises are about understanding that there's nothing to be afraid of when discovering more of who you are, because all you're going to do is weed out what you're not. The things that you were told you were, the things you were led to believe, the limitations that have been placed on you, the things that you thought made sense to you that don't make sense to you anymore. It's okay. Let it go. It's because it wasn't yours. So that's a great, being addicted to chaos is not a light thing, because let me tell you, right there, I spent decades of my life being addicted to chaos, and then not even understanding. Not understanding my hand in its creation. That's what it was. And addiction to chaos is just as much of an addiction, as an unhealthy addiction, as it is to anything.
Any addiction just is not good, period.
Because you're not in harmony. It's not balanced. And if we can do everything in balance, and then we would begin to finally understand that once you put things into balance, you're the things that don't are not for our highest good simply fall away. You don't even need to push against it. You don't need to give it up. You don't need to fight it. It just falls away. And even if it's a physical addiction, it will fall away in the idea that you will come to understand your power over it. You will come to understand its gift and its lesson, and you will come to understand that once you can love it and embrace it, now you can let it go. that it doesn't need to be a part of you anymore, that every moment is new. And even if you thought you were too weak a minute ago to change that behavior, all of a sudden you wake up and realize, you know what? I'm not powerless to this behavior is not more powerful than me because it's not outside of me. This behavior is me. It's not some other thing controlling me. It's not because I'm weak. It's not because I'm less of a person. It's not because I'm bad. It's not because I'm that I lack some sort of willpower. You hold everything. There's nothing outside. It's a belief. We believe we aren't strong enough. We believe it has power. That is the strength, is the belief. And we even tried to explain to somebody the other day about what placebo was, in that he could not understand how a placebo could
Wendy,
actually work.
Wendy, could we just take a minute to address Debbie has written on the side, and I wanted you
Well, I
to
don't know
be
if she
aware of
wants
that.
to. And
Well,
she and
I just
she and I
wanted you to be
talked about
aware
it.
of it, and
Might not
then we
work.
can uh, talk about what leads to that kind of
And I'm glad that you
thing.
did mention that too. And I didn't know if Debbie wants to talk about that, or she and I've talked about it privately as well. But the one thing I will say to that is, I will never tell anybody to stop doing something that their doctors told them to do, or that because you have to still stay in your belief systems in order to overcome something. You have to stay in that belief system until a new belief system takes hold. And that's with any behavior or any kind of anything that we feel as if we need I need this in order to do that. You know what I mean? I need this thing in order for me to feel more comfortable. So what I would say to that, to anybody who is, and I've been there, I've been there. So what I would say to somebody who wants to stop a particular whatever, addiction behavior, drug, pharmaceutical, whatever it is, simply ask your spirit guides and your higher self, God, whatever's comfortable for you, show me a healthy replacement. Show me a healthy alternative. Now, this is where I want to move back just for a second about actually implementing the things that we hear, because even Bashar has said, you guys don't do this stuff because you think it's too simple. You won't apply it because you think it won't work for you. So the point is, when you ask your spirit guides, like I did, I want to get off these drugs, I want to get off this medication, I want to stop this behavior, I want to stop this addiction, I went to every length I could. I asked Archangel Michael, please come and cut these cords. I started looking up angel medicine. I started looking up self-healing. I started looking up, I bought the book, Dory Virtue's Angel Medicine book, because in there it shows each archangel and what each ailment that they help you with. And I would sit there every day and look and say, okay, today, this angel, I need your help with this. I need your help. I can't do this alone. Show me what to do. And it was like this little journey I got led on. And every day I would find something new. I would find like a new technique, or I would find a new, like they showed me to take white willow instead of like aspirin, or they would show me and I would just, and when I say they would show me, what I mean by that is I would say, I would wake up the next day and all of a sudden, you know how you just see something online and you're like, oh, that does that, and then you're like, oh, that's my answer to that. Oh, okay. So what I realized was that I started experimenting with okay, what are natural antidepressants? And so then I started to look at the different ones, and there's several out there. Valerian root is a nice anti-anxiety. certain kinds of herbal teas. There's a lot of stuff out there. You have to go with what resonates with you and then follow the thread. And that's what I started doing. So I just started kind of asking for the information and then watching for the synchronicities. And then I would say, oh, okay, is that the message for that? And it's like you kind of know. It's like you get that sort of tickle, like that excitement, like that yes. And so you go, okay, and then you start, or even if you don't get it mentally, you just follow it. You go, oh, well, let me read up on that. And so I started reading up on like natural alternatives to pain relief. And so then I started experimenting with, different herbal, things. And then I started asking people who knew more about it than I did. I would start researching stuff. And so I was able to slowly, kind of with the intention of, I'm going to get rid of this pharmaceutical, and sometimes it was changing the behavior itself was the only thing that needed to be done, because when you're actually doing the stuff, like say you are religiously, and I that's not a good word, consciously and intentionally every day saying to myself, I am going to spend 30 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever you can do, in quiet meditation. I am going to tell every cell in my body I'm healing. You know what I used to do? I used to tell my, what's that called? Your, not your bone marrow. Is it by, what do you call that? Where you get the, from the umbilical cord. I used to tell that to go attack the things, like to go heal my shoulder, go heal that thing. So I would sit in meditation and I would say, okay, please help me deal with this depression. Please help me send my little healing little guys to my shoulder and help me learn how to visualize little like Pac-Men just like healing me and like fusing my bones and my tendons and reconnecting things. And I would start like really walking every day for 30 minutes. And I started that while I was still working because I was so unhappy with I was so unhappy. So I was desperate for anything, and I was desperate to get off medication, and I was desperate to get off all of this chemicals. So I was desperate. So I was looking for everything that I could find, to replace these behaviors that my body kept telling me. One day I went to reach for an ibuprofen even, and they were just like, stop. Just stop. No more. No, we can't take another thing, So it was this journey, this quest for peace of mind, for self-healing, for understanding how to repair myself with my own intention and visualization. And that's another, Sabrina, that's a good question. Are you content with your life? That is always the first question, because anything that's creating this unbalance is because you're not speaking your truth, you're not living your true self, you're in a situation that you feel that you can't control. And a lot of times it's finding that place inside of you where you can change the circumstance, and the circumstance then changes the need for that. And that is why our galactic families, our ET friends tell us, if you're not following your highest joy, and that means in every way, shape, or form, living in an unhealthy situation, I know, is not easy. And that is the first step in the healing of being able to, because we're depressed because we feel we're out of control, that our life is unmanageable. And so we turn to something to help us feel calmer and in more control. So this is a very deep subject, and I think it's a very important one because it all begins with this. That is your journey has
And can I
begun
add,
now.
could I add just one thing?
Oh yeah.
Your conversation with yourself has a lot to do with it. And a long time ago, well, not a real long time ago, but I was told something about to get out of my own head. I don't really understand what that meant at the time, but I also was suffering from the post-traumatic stress disorder and different things as well. And they also wanted to put me on antidepressants and things like that. But what I found out was that it was more of a racing thoughts type thing. When you're talking
Yes.
about post-traumatic stress, you kind of get caught up in your own head. That's what she meant by get out of your own head. So if you can find someone that you trust to talk to, I do have that now. It helps to have that someone to bounce off what you're talking about and to allow them to let you know that you're doing what you're doing. And if you can't do that for yourself, and sometimes I know I can't do it for myself. So luckily enough, I've met somebody here on Hugalo that has become one of my best friends that is there for me when I'm going through something like that. And learning to recognize the triggers that bring that on is first and foremost. You know, to think about what it is that causes you to spin out of control like that in your head. That can a lot of times stop it before it gets going. But if you just can't catch up, like I said, it really does help to have someone to talk to, a good friend, or someone that doesn't even really know you. It's just that it helps to be able to talk that out. For me, it really helps because I can't stop myself once I get into that spinning mode, running thoughts mode. So it's been really super helpful for me to have someone to bounce those thoughts off of, and now I am learning to recognize what is going to trigger that and try to avoid that before it gets to that point. So I don't want to say to you, stop your medication because you're on medication that was prescribed to you, but try to open your mind just a little bit. Anybody who's dealing with this, try to open your mind just a little bit to allow yourself to heal. It is a lot of past trauma that brings on or triggers the episodes, and it is the same with someone who comes back from a war. When
Yes.
certain things happen, they get triggered, and then they can't stop what's going on in their head, and a lot of times flip out of control.
I feel that indeed.
So I think we all need to be aware of that with so many young men coming back, suffering from that as well as people in our own communities.
Yes, indeed. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Deb. Go ahead. Did you want to say something, Debbie?
Yes, about the chaos in your head. I know exactly what she means.
Yes. And Deb, I did want to say to you too that you, by virtue of I'm familiar with Debbie's situation and what's going on, in her life. She's, told me what's happening, and I will say to you that all of this time, from the very first time that we met, up to that time and through that, you had been asking, even if you weren't asking, outwardly, but you probably were, speaking and praying and saying, I'm looking for help, I'm looking for comfort, I'm looking for a way to deal with the situation. And even if we don't do it consciously, we're constantly sending signals out of what we want. I want a better this, I want a better job, I want a better relationship, I want to be a better person, I want to know
to
myself.
be free of an addiction.
I want to be free of this thing. And you found us. In that searching, your spirit guides brought you to me. They brought you to this group. This group of people, even that's right here in this room, are extremely familiar with, we've lived what you're living in many of the levels that you're living it, from both sides. So your guides brought you here in answer to your prayers. So just like Valerie said, having someone, anyone, to talk to that understands, that you can be honest with, completely true about your feelings. And if it's not here, then I encourage you, yes, to please find that.
Yeah, because you're not going to get the answers from someone else. You're still going to have to look inside yourself
still going to be here.
find them.
Yep.
All you get from somebody else is some guidance, some places to start.
Yes,
and start to heal.
Your guides brought you here to say, this is where you need to start. This is where you need to start to heal. And now you're being given the tools, and now we need to apply the tools. And I know you have been, because I've seen the change in you just in the last couple months. I mean, we don't sometimes even see our own growth. And yet you've come so far. Just you being here, even talking to us, is huge. You told me a couple months ago, I can't do that. Look at you.
And you know what
here.
the greatest thing is about your bravery with coming forward and saying, I want this to change, is that you're giving hope to so many other people.
Yes.
Who can't yet come forward and say, I want this change. I want someone to show me how to do this. I want somebody's guidance to where I can start. You're helping so many other people realize that there's nothing wrong with coming forward, that nobody's going to judge that. Everybody's had their moments of, feeling like I'm the only one going through this and being stuck in their own head. So I just want to thank you so much for being brave and coming forward and opening that line of conversation for so many others who need to hear this and need to know that there can be a life without that.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I really, when I met Wendy for the first time, I felt a connection immediately. And she has been helping me so much. I'm asking her all kinds of questions.
That's where you start.
And that's okay, yes.
Perfect.
And being brave enough to ask a question is part of the journey of self-love. Because how many of us are even afraid to ask somebody a question and be vulnerable, to say, this is how I feel, or what do you think about that, or it's hard to be vulnerable and tell people how you really feel, especially when they're strangers. But you know what? Sometimes, like Val said, it's actually easier when it's a stranger, because I don't need to know anything about you and your past to know what you need now, in this now, today. I don't need to know the life history. I don't need to know what you've done in your life. All I need to know is who you are now and what you need now. and you're asking, we call out for help and we receive, the teachers will appear when the student is ready. And how many of us have been mad at ourselves that we didn't learn something sooner, only to understand we couldn't have understood it anyway. Even if they would have given it to us, it's like, just like I've said before, it's like, you can't teach somebody algebra. What are they going to do with it if they don't even know how to add? And so we get mad at ourselves for not being in a certain place in a certain time, yet what we realize is we just weren't ready. It wasn't our time.
Yeah, but like I do, after you start on something, a plan that your doctor says is right for you at that time, sometimes you're blindly following that advice.
Well, of course, because you're desperate.
Because yes, you're desperate, and
Desperate
you're thinking,
for help.
well, that doctor knows everything, right? But remember, they're practicing. That's why they call it a doctor's
That's why
practice.
they call it a practice, because
Right.
it's just,
But only
it's trial and error.
Only you know the kind of life you want to live. So, change the rhetoric in your head and tell yourself that you love yourself, that you can get better, that you won't have to be taking that the rest of your life. It's a temporary situation until you figure things out. I think it would be a wonderful thing for you to, I see Sabrina's offered her help on the side, and I will tell you that she is exactly the person I talk to. And
so yes, there's a lot of help
she's a mother
here.
figure. She's a wonderful person you can talk to about anything, and she will hold your confidence. You never have to worry that what you say is going to be blabbed about.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's
not
every one of us are all
we don't gossip. We don't
No.
say things about other people like that. Yes, Shaheen, please say something.
Shaheen, yes.
Thank you, Sabrina, and all of you.
Yeah, I was going to say, I see a lot of people in depression, and I tell them just listen to your inner voice than anything else, because that's the most important thing, because you know the answer. We can tell you, like, this, do that, do this, don't do that, but end of the day, it's you have to do it. That we all can be supportive, but end of the day, you have to take a walk and to know
understand, I don't know if you've ever had depression, Shaheen, but for me, my thoughts were so, I couldn't listen to my thoughts, or I probably wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah,
honestly.
That's true. I did, and then when I got my dog, and then my life it totally changes, because he was only one listening to me, that he knew exactly how I feel, and I knew that. So that's how I end up waking up and smell the roses pretty much. So that's why I end up falling in love with all type of animals and realize that they can send a message to you. So that's the thing. I had a big depression that I used to go walk 3 a.m. miles and miles, just thinking, what should I do? What shouldn't do? And I was angry about myself. But then I realized, so I can change that. So every person can be different, but it you can change your life just like that, I believe. Thank you.
Yes, that is such a good point. Yes, we don't believe sometimes that we can change our life just like that. We have been led to believe that there's a big process, and now I'm not saying that there's not profit in process. I believe that there is. That's why we're here. That's what experience is. That's what experience is it's the process. But now that we're ascending, and this is what our galactic friends are trying to explain to us, is that we don't now, in this new age of energy, don't have to go through that whole process that we used to think we needed to go through in order to accomplish that goal, that karmic lesson, if you will. So we don't need to keep coming back and drawing out the lesson anymore. They're showing us you guys are at a higher vibration now where you're just going to get it. I mean, you're just going to begin to understand, just like he just said. I don't need to believe that I have to go through that whole thing anymore, but I also understand I can honor that if I want to go through it, if I need to go through it for the lesson. So both are perfect. And that's the beauty of ascension, is to understand I get to choose, both are perfect, but I don't need to believe anymore that I can't just change it like that. Because I think my experience, and I think most of the people who have ever changed anything like really radical in their life, whether it's given up a behavior, a habit, whatever major lifestyle change, I think we would all agree that the agony is in the decision. It seemed to me that every big decision I ever had to make, all the angst and all the energy and all the ick was in the making of the decision. Once I made the decision, the action and the acts were easy because we're excited about the change then. We want the change. We welcome the change. It's no longer about, oh, I have to do that to get that. It's about, oh, okay, I can do that to get that, and now I'm embracing it, and it's exciting now. I'm not looking at it as a challenge. Or so for me, it was about the making of the decision. Once you make it, it's like you're free. It's like, oh, okay, wow, now I have to do is allow. All I have to do now is allow and not throw junk in my path to let this thing happen. Now all I got to do is just keep focusing on the thing being done and knowing that reality is, and that it already is, or I wouldn't be able to see it. If you can't imagine it, you can't imagine anything that doesn't already exist. So if you can see it in your mind, you have created it. So therefore, see in your mind the thing that you want, and then every time we start feeling the feeling of the thing we don't have, we start remembering, okay, I just have to stay in that vibration and allow myself to not put worry, fear into my path every day to stop me from receiving it. Because once it's done, it's done. Now, I'm not saying any of this is always easy, because we're led to believe it isn't. But the point is now, we don't have to believe that there's this long, drawn-out, icky process. We just make the decision, and we're excited, and we're good to go. Because now we know everything is now. Everything is now. Everything is now. You don't need the past in our minds is like this ball and chain that we drag with us with all the junk from our life and all the stuff. We don't even need to believe that even exists anymore. Because if you understand everything's new and now, then you understand you create it, right now. So, Shaheen, thank you for being here. And yes, I should probably let everybody go for the night, since it's once again a little
quick
bit
blessing
longer.
maybe, and then
Yeah,
we'll say goodbye.
We'll do a blessing, and then we'll go by, and then anybody who wants to chat offline, that's great. So I thank you all again for being here. Thank you all who have come and go in the Hangout, who've been watching, who are doing this now, and anytime you're watching this is your now, and start now. The journey to finding yourself begins every now. Just because you didn't do it yesterday doesn't mean you can't do it today. And if you want to follow these Bashar's guidelines that the Shakani have brought to us, go back to the first video. I'll post it again. It was on July 7th. Know thyself. And follow the little steps every day and watch it transform your life. I have been so blessed these last 5 weeks to have experienced all of that I've experienced, not only through this process, but with all the people I've met here and all the people who have commented and all the things that we've shared here in the last several weeks. So it's been immeasurable. And so I want to thank you all again for being here, and thank you all for being brave enough, even though bravery is an illusion, because you all are brave. It's there. It's just there for the asking. And if you can't find your bravery, ask. Show me where it is. Show me how awesome I am. And you're going to get examples over and over again. So with that, I leave you all, and I bless you all, and I thank you all once again for being here. The Shakani Sassani Civilization is excited for everyone's expansion and taking these simple but profound tools to heart, to actually doing them and feeling them and experiencing them and expressing your love and your uniqueness to the world. Because the more you find self-love, the more you can be all you are, the more you can feel free to express who you are. Because there are no boundaries when it comes to all the ways you can express yourself. There's no boundaries. There's no limit. You can do a million things all at the same time. You don't have to put yourself in one box. You're not one thing. You are many things. You're a multidimensional being. Explore all of them. All of them. It doesn't mean you have to be great or a master at any one thing. Just do everything that brings you joy, because it all raises your frequency. Every little bit of it changes who you are. It unveils another layer of who you are, and it gives you that much more confidence to step out and be that next crazy you. I mean, all the people we love are the people who are just want to be out there just being who they are. Think of all the people that excite you in your life. Who are the people that excite you online and on television and in your own group, your own circle, your own family? Who are the people that you look up to? Who are the people that you say, I want to be like them? They're the ones who are not afraid to show who they are and be who they are. And when you start doing this, you're going to find that these situations that you find yourself in, that you feel oppressed, you feel depressed, you feel you can't get out of, you're going to find that crack, that you're going to start to see that little crack of light that you never saw before, that power in that you didn't know you had before, that thing you got that you finally are able to say in a new loving way that you couldn't say before, that opens the crack just a little bit more and a little bit more to let you shine through. And that's what it's all about. So thank you, Val. Love you. Thank you for being here. And thank you all. Thank you, Shiny, for coming back in. Is there anything you'd like to say before we say goodbye? If anyone would like to say anything or give a blessing, and then I will as well.
I want to thank you. Say I love you. See you soon.
Namaste to all that's listening and here.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Sabrina. Thank you, Shaheen. Thank you, Valerie.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
And we gather here in the light of each other's light. And we do illuminate each other. For the light in you illuminates the light in me, and the light in me illuminates the light in you. And each time we reach out, each time we let ourselves shine, we give another person permission to shine, permission to show the world who they are. The quirks and your Your virtue is your flaws, and your flaws are your virtues. That's what makes you unique. That's what makes you who you are. Be quirky. Be crazy. Be expressive. Be genuine. Be authentic. Be true to you. And you give another person permission to be them. For every time you see somebody being themselves, you shine brighter. And they shine brighter. And together, we brighten everything. We brighten the whole globe. We brighten the universe, the multiverse. Everything becomes brighter when we're all shining our true light. So shine, shine, beautiful beacons, shine. And be the light you came here to be simply by being you and true to you and loving you for the you chose to be here. The beautiful, beautiful you. And we are one. Nailakia Sanyana. Namaste. I love you all. Thank you all for being here.